Story 1. They worked in a factory, and he always made sandwiches in the morning, took them to work and ate them at midday. Then he married, so he thought, now my wife's going to make my sandwiches. On the first day, she made him some, and when he got home in the evening, she said to him, were the sandwiches all right? Oh, yes, he answered, but you only gave me 2 slices of bread. The next day she gave him 4 slices, but he said again, 4 slices aren't enough. The third day she gave him 8 slices, but those were not enough for him either. So on the 4th day she took a loaf of bread, cut it in half, and put a big piece of meat in it. In the evening she said to him, was your lunch nice? Oh yes, he answered, but 2 slices of bread aren't enough. Story 2. Harry did not stop his car at some traffic lights when they were red, and he hit another car. He was very frightened and said to Harry, what are you doing? You nearly killed me. Yes, Harry answered, I'm very sorry. He took a bottle out of his car and said, drink some of this, then you'll feel better. He gave the man some whiskey, and the man drank it. But then he shouted again, you nearly killed me. Harry gave him a bottle again, and the old man drank a lot of the whiskey. Then he smiled and said to Harry, thank you, I feel much better now, but why aren't you drinking? Oh, well, Harry answered, I don't want any whiskey now. I'm going to sit here and wait for the police. Story 3. Harry and Bob were neighbors, and they worked in the same bank. They were young and they often went out together. Then the bank sent both of them to a new town. They did not know any other people there. So on the first Saturday, Bob said to Harry, there's a dance at the Bridge Hotel this evening. Let's go there. Perhaps we'll meet some nice girls. Harry answered, all right. And they went to the dance together. They danced several times with the girls there, and then Harry went to Bob and pointed to one girl. She's a nasty one, he said angrily. Don't talk to her. Bob was surprised. Why? What happened? He asked his friend. Harry answered, she said to me, do you dance? Bob laughed and said, but that isn't a nasty thing to say. She said it while I was dancing with her, Harry answered angrily. Story 4. Bruce was an Australian and worked for a newspaper in Sydney. Then he thought, I want to see Europe, so I'll go to England and work for a newspaper there for a few years. He flew to London and soon got work, because he was good at his job. He lived in a small but comfortable house near London, and he had a small garden. He enjoyed working in it on Saturdays and Sundays. He had nice neighbors on both sides, and they often worked in their gardens on Saturdays and Sundays too, and then they talked and joked to each other. One day he was digging a hole in his garden to plant a bush when one of these neighbors came to the fence between the 2 gardens and looked at Bruce's work. He laughed and said, are you making a swimming pool? Oh no, answered Bruce, I'm going home. Story 5. Mr. and Mrs. Smith married 30 years ago, and they have lived in the same house since then. Mr. Smith goes to work at 8 o'clock every morning, and he gets home at 7:30 every evening from Monday to Friday. There are quite a lot of houses in their street, and most of the neighbors are nice. But the old lady in the house opposite Mr. and Mrs. Smith died, and after a few weeks, a young man and woman came to live in it. Mrs. Smith watched them for a few days from her window, and then she said to her husband, "Bear, the man in that house opposite always kisses his wife when he leaves in the morning, and he kisses her again when he comes home in the evening. Why don't you do that too?" "Well," Mr. Smith answered, "I don't know her very well yet."